of all, I'd like to say huge thanks to Steffi and the whole DLD team for creating this amazing platform where people can exchange ideas and connect and talk about future and shape the future. So this talk that Mika and Mike Butcher are going to have is exactly about that, vibe design, future of design. I am from Armenia. I live in London. I've been coming to DLD for many years, and it's an amazing it's amazing that we are going to have DLD Armenia. So we worked to bring Armenian delegation here. After Mark and Anya and Tigran visited Armenia a couple of times in the last few months, we've put together a delegation. There is Mika, who represents Picsart, which is one of the Armenian unicorns. There is Pegor Papazian, who was presenting Tumo Technologies, that's educational program for teenagers. There is another platform called Async Podcastle, which is also focused on creativity. We'll have talk on Saturday. And there is Rafi Krikorian, who is based in Silicon Valley, and he's CTO of Mozilla, and he is on board of Tumo. So we've put together this delegation to do the first step and connect, and we are going to have the DLD Armenia in May. Watch this space. We'll announce the dates, but it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be wild. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I think we're standing between you and lunch, so this is a really bad place to be. My name is Mike Butcher. I am a journalist. I'm 3,000 years old. I was at TechCrunch for 17 billion years, and now I'm running a new thing called pathfounders.com. So sign up and join us as we take over the world. We're going to be talking to Picsart, Mikayel Vardanyan. So you are the CPO of Picsart. Picsart,
COO.
COO. I apologize. I got it wrong.
It was CPO.
I was misinformed.
During our last event, yeah, it was CPO.
You've been promoted. I'm kidding. Who's used Picsart? A minority of people. Guys, you're the wrong generation. All the kids are using it. It's all over there. First, it was millennials, if I remember rightly. Then it was Gen Z. And now it's probably Gen Alpha, frankly, because everybody's on it, except for you guys. After raising initial capital money from Sequoia and SoftBank, now claims to be profitable. And let's have a look at their balance sheet later. And over 2.5 billion downloads, over 100 million monthly active users, 6 billion total creations in 2025, and 2.2 billion total AI generations. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the hottest issue we've got this today, right now. And the reason is that, because what I want to know from you, sir, Mikayel, is can you put a bikini on me?
Of course. Why not?
Great.
First of all, thanks for this event. Thanks to DLD, and Mike is a good friend. We have been doing many sessions before.
Up until this interview.
Yeah, up until this interview.
What I want to know is the issue here, though, everybody, of course, on everyone's lips right now, especially with Elon Musk defending his ability of Grok to put bikinis on children and God knows what else and put them in sexual positions. Huge controversy in the UK, in India, you name it, so around the world, practically poised to be banned in Malaysia and the Philippines until recently he said that it's okay, we'll stop it from putting bikinis and putting women into sexual positions unless you're a paying subscriber as a premium service. How useful. We really do have to address this issue of image generation, because Picsart was a pioneer in this space, very much used by artists and creatives, totally legitimately in a fantastic space. I know that you're competing with people like Canva and Adobe, which is all about professional design and art. But we've got to address this issue, haven't we? What kinds of guardrails do you have for Picsart to prevent that kind of abuse?
Yeah, first of all, bikini will look pretty good on you, so that's first thing, and we can try later. Second, I think with every new technology, right? Technology is being used for good things, for bad things, and for fun, which is in between and on the borderline of those two. Here as well, the same with AI. I think it started completely as a Wild West initially 3 years ago. And then also while the technology was maturing, all the guardrails and people understood how also to prevent certain things. But as with every content type, you know, you can't prevent everything by 100%. So you can prevent up to a certain extent. And that's what everyone does now, including Meta, ourselves, and all other content companies, trying to prevent by utilizing, again, other tools, AI tools, of course. But it's still, I think, in the maturity phase. We will still see some controversial stuff. But
have you seen that on your platform?
We are moderating heavily. So it was always, even without AI, since we started in 2011, there was a bunch of content which we never have been showing to our users, considering that we started with Gen Z audience and these guys were 13 years plus.
Right.
So that's why we are very strict policies. Since the beginning, it was more manual guardrailing, then it was combined with AI and tools. So up until now, it's strongly filtered, but sometimes, it can slip.
So that's very interesting, because as we know, when Elon Musk took over Twitter and then renamed it X, he got rid of a lot of content moderation. You started out in Armenia. You have a heavy engineering team in Armenia, but obviously you're a US company as well. Do you think that content moderation has been very much the piece that has set you apart in terms of this particular aspect of content generation and AI generation?
I believe yes, because our platform was and still is all about creativity, and creativity in a good sense. That's why we have been trying hard to make this feeling there. So there is no like politics, no like this everyday use or everyday like this rumors, etc.
Is that translating into growth?
Yes, it's translating into growth, and we see that sets us apart from other social media platforms, other communities, because it's completely different, interest-based and visual content-based community, which we created. And up until now, we try to keep this spirit, even including AI. It's still AI which empowering you to be more creative, and not AI kind of taking over and doing all the stuff.
And you've developed your own models. You're not leveraging models, AI models from other platforms?
We are doing both. We have a hybrid model, as most of the companies, including Canva right now. We have our own in-house built models for certain stuff, like text to image, remove background, replace, try on in certain cases. But at the same time, we also learned that it's not anymore competition of models, because models have been commoditized this last couple of years already, and you can't compete with Google, OpenAI, and other big players. We decided to go in a different direction to create this hybrid model, certain set of our models, plus all the available APIs from all the vendors. We're currently partnering with OpenAI, Google, Ideogram, and provide the users the best solution, not focus on model, but focus on what you need and how best we can serve you, no matter what underlying model is it, we'll choose for you.
Right.
Because we saw that people also confusing anymore, because there are 100 versions of each of the models.
Absolutely. I know that we all gradually, over the last year or so, we've been more familiar with the concept of vibe coding. It's really very much taking the engineering world by storm. In terms of the ability to create things so quickly, not just engineering, but I mean people who previously might have considered themselves to be amateurs in in app generation, website generation, are now able to literally talk to an LLM, talk to a model. Did this with a friend on Lovable just on the weekend, and we were like vibe coding up an app just by talking to the website. It's absolutely incredible. And you're now trying to lean into something. This is a bit of a marketing term, but let's go with it. Something called vibe design. Now, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of marketing spiel over there, but what do you think that will actually mean practically? And is it a real thing? Do you think it's a real thing, or do you think it's kind of like on trend, aside from engineering, but the sort of vibe design, should we say, might turn into a new trend?
Yeah, I think in everything there is marketing piece, right? And it's getting bigger nowadays, especially with all the stuff happening in the world. But I think similar to coding, right? What happened with coding and engineering traditionally, this coding space was like, yeah, the same stuff, different languages. You learn coding, you learn foundations, and you become engineer. And then overnight it's changed that you can start create the things much faster. So it transformed the old legacy function into something, the same outcome, but in a different way, done in a different way. That's why it's called vibe coding. So similarly, we see over the years that it's not anymore about tools. When we started, it all was about tools and how you can differentiate yourself between tools, how many tools you have created, photo editing, video editing, all those tools. Now we see it's not anymore about tools, because you can literally create the tool now, today, tomorrow, and it's just a matter of time. It's not anymore you can or you couldn't do that. But we saw that people are more and more leaning towards emotions. So converting emotions and voice, vibing with AI, how we call, into the visual outcomes. That's why we came up with this term, like it's more like vibe design nowadays. Instead of tools to visual outcome, it's more emotions to visual outcomes with the help of AI and help of empowerment.
I mean, it's quite clear there's a sort of an overly used word, democratization, but it's quite clear that the ability to get in first in engineering and coding is now being flattened by vibe coding, and with the tools that you provide, it's much easier to get into design and art and creativity. But are you concerned that there's sort of a flattening of creativity? One thing I think we've all noticed, haven't we, is that you can actually, interestingly, you can still tell, despite the tools getting more and more sophisticated, but you sort of can still tell an article written by AI versus an article written by a human being. There's that particular kind of tell, isn't there, when it says, la 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 has happened, but something else happened too. And I just think, as soon as I read that, I'm like, boom, this is AI. It's all over LinkedIn. We all know what it looks like, especially those posts with one sentence. It's such a tell. But do you think that the flattening of the way the written word is being flattened by AI might happen in art and creativity as well?
Yes and no. I mean, to a certain extent. So there are a couple of angles I see it from. So first of all, it's since the first days where like our mission and vision was like to make creativity available to everyone. And with every new technology, we have been getting closer and closer. So that's how I see that AI, this Gen AI, let's say Gen AI because AI was a long time before and it's not only about Gen AI. We saw that the entry point was making easier, much easier with AI. So because there are many people didn't know how to start. So now you have this easier entrance, and then you still want to play, you still want to make fun, you still want to make this hand touch at the end of the day, but this entrance was a big problem for many of people. That's first one. Second piece, we see that to a certain extent it's flattening, but at the same time it's not anymore about creative assets per se, but it's more about how well you can create a workflow by combining different creative sets, how to create different variations, especially, for example, if you are running performance marketing, right? You need thousands and thousands creative ads. So now it's not about like creating this one ad, but you created one ad, for example. Now you need variations every day, thousands and thousands ads, which was literally impossible to do in an old way because you needed 100 designers, you needed this process. It was taking ages and weeks because we know ourselves we are running a lot of that stuff. So we started to fix it for ourselves and learn that it's more about how to create this right workflow and keep it running endlessly. And it's changed the whole game. And all these models, etc., we see that they're enabling it to do much better and faster, but it's not just replacing that.
I know that you mentioned, you used to need 100 designers to do something, and actually we have actually seen how some companies, certainly in games, I know, for instance, but in other sectors, they've reduced the time, the design team as a result of AI tools. I know there's been quite a kind of a, decimation in Chinese games companies as a result. I know that you've also reduced your own head count from its initial size down to a few hundred people as a much larger team earlier. What do you think is the flip side or the flip-flop between the reduction of headcount in design and creativity teams in larger companies and then maybe startups with smaller teams using AI tools? Do you think we'll see a kind of an explosion of new companies, or do you think we'll see just a difficult space? Because we're all concerned about that effect that AI is having on the world of work, aren't we?
Yeah, it's a very common question since recently. So I think it's, again, when we reduced our headcount, it was not about design headcount. It was with every other company. We overhired during the COVID times, and then we started to make everything much more efficient and linear to move faster. So that was one of the reasons. It was nothing to do with design space in particular. That's one thing. Second, I believe it will enable more solopreneurship over the time. So I see that will be less this SMB kind of companies with 100 people, 200 people. It will be more single-person companies or a couple of people doing the stuff of 50 to 100 people. So instead of these people joining SMBs, I think more of them will start doing their own businesses.
Right, yeah.
So that's how I see it. It will transform, and we see also on our platform, we have a lot of prosumers or solopreneurs, how we call them, and now it's a good chance for them not to hire too many people, but to do the whole stuff by themselves. So everyone can become solopreneur, basically, and do many things which were not accessible before.
Okay, cool. I'm extremely confused now because that was said 3 minutes ago, and now it says 8. So I'm not sure what you guys are doing.
Everything is changing so fast, Mike, nowadays.
I know, Elon Musk has obviously given us more time to
It's because you mentioned grok.
Leadership.
You mentioned grok, and you see?
I know, there's something that someone's tampering with the timer. Well, that's great. Actually, what I also wanted to ask you was, there's a little bit of influence going on here to some extent. I know TikTok. You use TikTok in China. It keeps nudging you towards wanting to become an astronaut. TikTok, it nudges Western kids to become creators. Amazing. Do you think you've got a role to play in encouraging the next generation of European leadership?
Oh, it's interesting question. So I think the platform like ours have been playing a big role in educating people to do a lot of creative stuff, etc., etc. And then over the time, we see that now, as I mentioned, because we see more solopreneurs using it, and more solopreneurs are using not only for visual assets reasons, but trying to learn how to run the business and how to do something. I see that.
Do you do much hand-holding of the social side of it? Do you do courses? Do you what kinds of things?
Yeah, exactly. So on one side, our platform is always have been having a very big educational piece, and we have even features like replay, how we call it. So we're showing how the edit was done, what tools were used, what were the steps. So that was one thing. At the same time, at the company, we always played a big role, and our model was always built on taking good students, training them, helping them to grow. And now we're also running a big academy in Armenia, which have almost 500 graduates per year. Also teaching different kinds of lessons, or how we call materials, but at the same time also making sure that they understand all the pieces of how to do the business, and then understand how to put all these pieces together in order to create something useful for the customers. So I think now it's working pretty good because this gap is narrowing, and whatever we've been doing on the platform in terms of educational materials, and then outside of the platform, we can now also bridge together really well.
I know that Armenia, many years ago in the Soviet Union era, was considered to be almost like the Silicon Valley of Soviet Union. It had a very high emphasis on technical universities and technology and engineering. And in the modern era, it's benefited from that heritage to a large extent. And we've also seen, quite interestingly, some new companies come out of the country, and some of them, with a top co in the US and engineering in Armenia. We've also got some really interesting kind of initiatives going on. There's a school there where kids are taught totally by computers now. I forget the name, it begins with a T.
Tumo.
Tumo, that's right.
There's a guy from...
We've got the Tumo guy over there, which is absolutely, and I visited it, everyone. If you go to Yerevan, you must visit this school, Tumo. Very interesting. Do you feel that as a culture, you're going to be able to leapfrog the West, shall we say, in the way you're approaching education and technology?
Yes, I think it's pretty obvious over those years. When I think first time you came to Armenia and you have been visiting our office, it was just taking acceleration. At that time, there were very few companies, there were very few things happening compared to what we see right now. I think it's getting big traction, and recently, not sure if you have heard, we are also building in Armenia one of the largest AI factories based on NVIDIA's latest...
You're doing it in building out compute?
GPUs, yeah, so Firebird. So there are many things happening, and many things happened after the Russia-Ukraine conflict. A lot of companies moved their offices, and they stayed there. And
benefited from the talent.
We benefited, yeah.
Brain drain.
Luckily, unluckily, but yeah, we benefited from that, and I think a lot more people learned about the talent, about how well they can scale. So we see it's growing, and all this analytical and engineering schools, how we say, this foundational stuff, which was very famous and coming from Soviet Union, helped to deal with these new technologies, because there's a lot of foundation stuff like physics, maths, right? It's more than anything else. So it's helping right now. And I also forgot to mention that if you take Picsart and all other companies we built, we now have at least, I can remember from top of my head, 10, 15 startups very successful who came out of Picsart, the ex-employees which we worked with. They went and started their own businesses. So it's another indicator for us that, yeah, we helped.
So you're creating a Picsart mafia.
Picsart mafia, and also like Google of Armenia, how some people call it, so.
Right. Well, the last question is, you as a company, you've raised some money from VC, you've running on revenues, you've said you've become profitable at this point. You've obviously managed to kind of reduce headcount a bit for the new era. But there was also, what kind of journey do you think you're on towards an exit? Are you looking to be acquired, looking for an IPO? Are you waiting for the markets to settle down? What's going to happen over the next year or so?
Yeah, it's very hard to predict what will happen and when, because it's just a matter of many things coming together, and you just need to choose the right timing and understand what's for your benefit. I think so far, since several years and before this COVID happens, and then after COVID, and then there's market changes, we have been targeting towards IPO. Still, that's not excluded from our agenda, but who knows? Yeah, we are growing. We got to double-digit growth last year, back again, because we have some single-digit growth after the COVID. Now we back again to close to 20% growth. We are very efficient, profitable. So yeah.
Can you tweet on Picsart?
Tweet?
Can you tweet? Can you just do words?
Words?
Yes. Could you just, like, could I move my Twitter, my X, over to Picsart?
I think you do not need to move your X to Picsart. There is
Maybe my Instagram?
Instagram, potentially, yes. Some stuff from the Instagram, not
Right.
Instagram, but we more look ourselves as a Reddit, but in a visual sense, because we have these small communities, interest-based, around certain interest of creativity. So that sets us apart from Instagram and other traditional social networks.
Amazing. Well, certainly, all of you who haven't got a Picsart account, why don't you go and jump on that? And happily, I'm quite happy to say that they don't allow you to put people into bikinis, which is very useful. And ladies and gentlemen, please, a big round of applause for Mikayel Vardanyan from Picsart, and from me, Mike Butcher from Path Founders. I shall see you at the conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you all.